Speaking of the comments, we know you're deep in these social media streets. What are the Brother from Another viewers fired up about based on our last couple of shows conversations?
I mean, there's a variety of things, but Kim Mulkey always gets people fired up. But obviously LSU is out. They lost in the Elite Eight, but we spoke about the LA Times article that came out about the team before that game. And so a lot of people had a lot of thoughts about that commentary. And I thought one of the interesting comments was someone basically kind of wanting us to dial down the praise, and not just us, but in general, the praise being doled out to Kim Mulkey because, in a way it was almost
the praise for her LA Times reaction.
For her calling out the LA Times article because in a way, like while she was right and it was sexism and she was right to call it out, it almost in a way made you forget or makes people forget or overlook all the things that the Washington Post article laid out in terms of like her other, her other, things that you would find controversial about her as a coach. So I just don't like how this has basically buried the Washington Post article. Mulkey's homophobia should not be getting a pass. I agree with this though. And personally, I do think that like the level of praise she was being given is like Kim Mulkey did the easy part. Like she called out sexism. It's not that hard to call out sexism and it's pretty blatant. Haley Van Lith did the harder part, and that was call out the racism, and that was be an ally. And as far as Kim Mulkey is concerned, it's been one of my main criticisms of her, which is that she does not protect her players. And I don't look at what she did that day by calling out the sexism. I feel like that was easy to do. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be acknowledged for that, but she's also done a lot in the past. We know Brittany Griner has written about it. Other players have tweeted about it. Like she's done other harmful things for, towards her players. And in particular, a player right now, Angel Reese, who is the subject of so much scrutiny right now. Like, I don't think Kim Mulkey has ever done a great job of protecting her, ever, not ever. And I want to, I know I want to pass the ball to you guys, but I just want to say, I just want to say this one thing really quickly, because this is really important when I say like she hasn't protected her players. Angel Reese, after the game, was asked a question and she responded about all the things that she has experienced being sexualized. And so people are clear that's because someone made AI porn about her. So when people come and they say, oh, well, she gets on the web and she has pictures wearing certain clothes. When she says she's sexualized, she's referring to AI porn being made about her. She said she has received death threats. She said that, she said she has not had peace. She has not experienced peace since they won the last title. And that's a very important thing. And this is something the social media streets are talking about. Everybody is talking about this. This morning, Taylor Rooks put out a tweet this morning that had me in tears. I had to compose myself to get on this show because Haley Van Lith and Flau'jae were her teammates that got on the podium and protected her. Her coach did not. So I personally was not a fan, like this commenter, of all of the Kim Mulkey praise, because to me, the hard thing was to protect Angel Reese. The thing to do was to be an ally to your Black players at that time and call out the racism. And earlier in the year, you didn't protect Angel Reese. When things were swarming around her and people were making rumors, you did not. That's the part that I want to challenge Kim Mulkey to do and to protect her players. Calling out the sexism, that was easy.
So I hear you, Natalie. Like, I'm not arguing with most of what you said. Just before the record, like, those things are mutually exclusive. It's like, nobody was saying Kim Mulkey's a hero, at least not on this show. And I don't know. Like, sure. we gotta stop this thing. Like this shit really pisses me off. It pisses me off when somebody like has this straw man or this red herring or this boogie. Like, there ain't nobody out here like throwing a parade for Kim Mulkey. The entire conversation.
It was. Not you guys, but it was.
I think,
it was
okay, I'm sure they were. If you dig deep enough, if you go into your non-follower direct messages, if you go into the comment section deep enough, I'm sure you will find people saying, great job calling it out. And you're right. Stating the obvious is not hard. You're absolutely right. And you're right that there's an inconsistency here, an upsetting and disturbing inconsistency here, where she doesn't, quote unquote, keep that same energy. But like, yo, we got to shoot the messenger. We can have a problem with Kim Mulkey, and like we start off by saying, when you're right, you're right. The conversation was never Kim Mulkey called out something that nobody else saw. The conversation was about the article. And so if we're going to have weekly conversations or daily conversations about challenging the coverage disparity, it doesn't matter who said it. It doesn't matter who said it. So yes, you're right about Kim Mulkey and how her failure to protect, in particular, Angel Reese, or before her, Brittany Griner. Nobody's forgetting the Washington Post article. But the LA Times article was so egregious and extreme that whether Kim Mulkey had said it or not, plenty of people would have responded to the LA Times article that way. So I agree with what you're saying in terms of Kim Mulkey not keeping that same energy. I simply disagree with the generalization that Kim Mulkey was being hailed as some kind of a hero because she stated the obvious when it wasn't about Kim Mulkey. She was the jumping off point and the soundbite that we played, but ultimately it was offensive to everybody and should have been offensive to everybody because of the ongoing conversations about coverage around women's basketball that we've talked about. Michael, I'm sorry, I don't want to take up all the time. Go ahead, Michael.
No. I don't think that person's comment was specifically about you and specifically about our section. And so I don't think it's being conflated across social.
Put it on our, but they put it on our comments. They put it on our page.
Because we're one of many people talking about it. And I think the general sentiment, and I saw it across social. It wasn't just like it wasn't just the one thing, is that because of a lot of this praise, remember, a lot of people are new here. Everyone doesn't know about Kim Mulkey. I saw lots of tweets of people saying she's a liberal. Kim Mulkey. So what I'm saying is,
but Natalie, some people are stupid, and some people can't think of two things at the same time.
Well, also,
some people can't handle two things at the same time.
Some people are new to Kim Mulkey. A lot of the things that were laid out in that article from the Washington Post, they don't know about Kim Mulkey. So you are informed. But this idea that the general public knows her and knows about what happened in the past, a lot of people don't, Mike. And so all I'm saying is that when that person's saying it, it's like, it bothers some people because it's just like, well, great, now she's receiving all this praise. And so people are kind of forgetting, or they don't really know what kind of person she is.
It bothers people because they don't Kim Mulkey. That's what it is. It bothers, and rightfully so, and understandably so. But like ultimately, like somebody that has been wrong on a lot of levels can be right once in a while. And if you're right, again, you're right. Like we can do this all day. If we can conveniently find people to support our point or support our position on somebody if we dig hard enough. Like, yeah, sure. There's a lot of people probably praising her that don't know.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're making it seem like it's digging. You don't have to dig. It's out there. This is the conversation.
Fine. A lot of shit's out there is my point. That's the danger of the comment section and the danger of social media. A lot of people are saying uninformed, dumb shit. It doesn't mean that you're saying that a lot of people don't know about Kim Mulkey. I'm saying a lot of people do. And there's a lot of written information supporting Kim Mulkey's problematic behavior over her career. The Washington Post got a whole lot of clicks, and a lot of people had it right there laid out in front of her to read it, and most of us are capable of consuming two things: a right observation about what was problematic about the LA Times article, and, yo, Kim Mulkey, that's some messed up stuff you did, and continue to do, to your point, Natalie. Go ahead, Michael. I said I was going to let you go.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just quickly, because you guys have both made some excellent points. The way I looked at Kim Mulkey in the LA Times is that Kim Mulkey, just like she did when she played for Louisiana Tech back in the day, Kim Mulkey was a point guard. She was a point guard who she threw the pass somewhere else. So she threw that pass to the LA Times coverage or bad coverage of that UCLA LSU game. And so I never looked at it as, hey, thank you, Kim Mulkey, for pointing that out. Maybe the journalist in me focused more on LA Times. What the hell are you doing? How is that the article? So it never even crossed my mind. I'm so thankful and grateful for Kim Mulkey and standing up for young women. No, I didn't think that. I thought it started the conversation. And so she was right to start the conversation there. But as Mike said, look, we're capable when we want to of going back to the past and staying in the present. That's why we mentioned Kevin Durant. People still haven't forgotten that Kevin Durant, despite what he does now, they haven't forgotten Kevin Durant in OKC. They haven't forgotten Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. They haven't forgotten Kevin Durant at times at Golden State, but they see him with the Phoenix Suns. We're able to look at what somebody's doing now and what they've done in the past and make an informed comment about it. So why can't we do that in the same weekend? But hold on. Also, it's the same weekend.
Yes.
You had the Washington Post and LA Times in the same weekend. Focus on both. It's not hard.
But also, Natalie, what is the agenda? What is the agenda too? It's like, it's not, I don't think it's just ignorance. I don't think it's just ignorance when you say a lot of people aren't familiar with Kim Mulkey's body of work. I don't think it's just ignorance. What is the agenda on the part of the people that you're seeing who are praising Kim Mulkey? Like, where are they coming from? You know, so I don't know if it's just ignorance.
Yeah, the praise doesn't have to be like she's the best person in the world. All I'm saying is that, first of all, we know that in today's day, when I say we know because there's been studies on this, people read less. So we can say all the information's out there. People read less. They don't even like to read a long text. They don't even like to read a long tweet.
It's a long ass article.
So, right. But what I'm just saying,
the Washington Post article was long.
So that's that. But we also know for a fact that women's basketball is on the rise, and there are a lot of new people coming.
12.3 million viewers.
Yes, there are a lot of new people coming in. So we cannot just make assumptions that people know about Kim Mulkey. A lot of people don't know about her. As many people who may, there's many who don't. And what I'm saying is, in the divisive times that we live in now, right? When people see that and they see her calling out the LA Times for for sexism, for a part of the world, whatever their agenda is, they were like, she's a liberal, she's this, she's that, which we know is not true about Kim Mulkey, but a lot of people are new here. And for some people, including myself, it just felt like it wasn't an overpraising of her. It was more like, great, now that she did this thing that is good, which should be acknowledged because she did the right thing, and there's so much conversation around it, it can make people overlook the great profile that just came out from the Washington Post that details her history. And that's my only point. It wasn't about whether two things can be true or what you guys' individual opinions are. I'm saying the effect that it had.
I appreciate your concern. I think it's a stretch, respectfully. I think it's a stretch.
Okay, I mean, based on what I'm seeing in commentary, that's what the conversation is.
That's fine. The comment section is toxic. We're wading in toxic waters. Okay?
I'm not right. But I'm not just talking about our comment section. I'm just saying the conversation happening on
social media in general is toxic. Social media in general is toxic. That's why I say, like, don't go digging in your DMs. For anybody that's listening, don't go digging in your DMs of people.
DMs, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not talking to you. I'm saying for people that's listening, don't go digging in your DMs that people don't follow you, because you never know what you might find for people that are not inclined to play nice in social media. That's just an aside. I'm just speaking to how toxic social media is and can be in general. And as you said at the very beginning, talking about the Warriors, it's not real. It's not real life, okay? Like, it is not an accurate representation of universal opinion. And so while there may be some people who apparently don't pay attention to women's basketball and don't know about Kim Mulkey, but came out of the woodworks because they happen to be interested in a story about the LA Times calling LSU players dirty debutantes, and they just happen to come up from outer space and just decide to praise Kim Mulkey as a liberal, sure, there are some of those people. But to me, it is a stretch, respectfully. I'm not saying you're not seeing what you're seeing, because you're seeing it. It is a stretch to think that her stating the obvious, saying that water's wet, sky is blue, and that article was sexist, overshadows who she has been for 40 years. Or that people are forgetting it or not giving it its due attention. I don't think that's where we are. I hope that's not where we are. Maybe I'm being naive. I hope that's not where we are. But more than often or fond of saying, more than one thing can be true. More than one thing can be true. I hope.
For sure.
I hope we're sophisticated enough to balance those two things.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.